What if I told you that Voyager 1, the spacecraft that's been traveling through interstellar space for 47 years, just sent back a message that NASA can't explain? Not a malfunction, not random data, a structured message, in a format it was never programmed to send. On November 14, 2024, NASA's Deep Space Network picked up a transmission from Voyager 1, 15 billion miles away, beyond the solar system, in the void between stars. The signal was strong, clear, and completely wrong. Voyager 1's computer has 240,000 times less memory than your phone. It runs on programming from 1977. Simple commands, basic telemetry. But this transmission? It contained data structures that shouldn't exist in its software, patterns that NASA engineers don't recognize, and information about regions of space Voyager shouldn't be able to detect. The spacecraft has been traveling for 47 years. It's seen things no human-made object has ever witnessed. It crossed the boundary of our solar system in 2012. It's now in interstellar space, the realm between stars where no one expected anything to happen. But something did happen. Something changed Voyager. And now it's trying to tell us what it found. NASA hasn't made an official statement. The data is classified as anomalous pending investigation, but 3 engineers have quietly resigned. 2 more refused to discuss the findings, and the project director told a colleague off the record. Either Voyager's computer rewrote itself, or something out there rewrote it for us. If you want to fall asleep exploring the greatest mystery in space. Exploration history, a message from the edge of the known universe that might rewrite everything. Hit subscribe. Every week we dive into cosmic enigmas that will haunt your dreams in the best possible way. This is history unfolding in real time. Let's decode Voyager's final message. November 14, 2024. 2:37 a.m. Eastern Time. A routine data check at NASA's Deep Space Network facility in Canberra, Australia. Engineer Sarah Chen was monitoring Voyager 1's weekly transmission, a simple health report the spacecraft sends every 7 days. Voyager 1 is the most distant human-made object. Launched in 1977, it's traveled over 15 billion miles from Earth. That's 163 times the distance from Earth to the Sun. So far that radio signals take 22 hours to reach it. The spacecraft is ancient by technology standards. It runs on a computer with 69 kilobytes of memory. Your phone has millions of times more computing power. It uses 8-track tape for data storage. Technology so old most people under 40 have never seen it. And it's powered by plutonium batteries that are slowly dying. NASA expected Voyager 1 to fail years ago. The plutonium decays. The power output drops. One by one, instruments shut down to conserve energy. First the camera in 1990, then the planetary radio astronomy experiment, then the plasma science instrument. By 2024, only 4 instruments remained active. But Voyager keeps going, sending back data about the interstellar medium, the gas and dust between stars, temperature readings, magnetic field measurements, particle counts, simple telemetry. Until November 14th, Chen noticed the transmission immediately. The data packet was larger than normal, much larger. A typical Voyager health report is 300 to 400 bytes, tiny by modern standards because the spacecraft's transmitter is weak and bandwidth is limited. This transmission was 47 kilobytes, over 100 times normal size. Chen thought it was an error, a corrupted signal, radio interference. But the data was clean, perfect signal-to-noise ratio, no corruption. Just 47 kilobytes of information that shouldn't exist. She called her supervisor. Within an hour, the entire Voyager flight team was on conference call. By morning, NASA headquarters was involved. The data wasn't random noise. It had structure, organization. But it wasn't in any format Voyager was programmed to use. Dr. Linda Spilker Voyager project scientist, examined the data personally. She'd worked on Voyager since 1977. She knew the spacecraft's programming better than anyone alive, and she'd never seen anything like this. The data contained three distinct sections. The first was normal telemetry. Temperature, power levels, instrument status. Everything looked healthy, except the timestamp was wrong. The data showed readings from November 14, 2024, but also contained readings from dates that hadn't occurred yet. November 20th, 2024. December 3rd, 2024. January 15th, 2025, Voyager was reporting the future. The second section contained coordinate data. Not just Voyager's position, which NASA tracks precisely, but coordinates of other objects. Hundreds of them. Objects at specific locations in interstellar space. Objects NASA's instruments hadn't detected. The third section was the strangest. Binary data. Ones and zeros, but organized in a pattern that resembled language, not human language. Not any programming language used in Voyager's software, but structured like language, syntax, grammar, repeating patterns that suggested meaning. Dr. Suzanne Dodd, Voyager project manager, convened an emergency analysis team. Engineers, programmers, linguists, cryptographers. 20 people working around the clock to understand what Voyager had sent. The first question, was this a hack? Had someone hijacked Voyager's transmission and inserted false data? Impossible. Voyager is too far away. You'd need a transmitter powerful enough to reach 15 billion miles, precise enough to mimic NASA's commands, and sophisticated enough to predict Voyager's exact position and trajectory. No one outside NASA has that capability. Could it be a hardware failure? Maybe radiation damage corrupted Voyager's memory, causing it to generate random data that coincidentally looks structured. Dr. Jeff Kuzi, planetary scientist, calculated the probability for radiation to randomly produce 47 kilobytes of structured data with timestamps, coordinates, and language-like patterns. Less than 1 in 10^50. Effectively impossible. That left one option. Voyager generated this data intentionally. Its computer, programmed 47 years ago with 1970s technology, somehow created new data structures, predicted future dates, detected hundreds of objects in interstellar space, and encoded information in an unknown format. How? By November 20th, one of the future timestamps in the original message, NASA was watching carefully. If Voyager sent another transmission matching the predicted date, it would confirm the spacecraft was somehow generating accurate predictions. November 20th arrived, 2:37 a.m., exactly the same time as the previous anomalous transmission. The Deep Space Network locked onto Voyager's signal, another 47 kilobyte packet. Same structure, telemetry from the present, coordinates of objects, and language-like binary patterns. But this time, the telemetry matched perfectly. Every temperature reading, every power level, every instrument status from the November 14th message that showed November 20th timestamps was correct. Voyager had predicted its own future state 6 days in advance with 100% accuracy. Dr. Dodd stared at the data for hours. "This isn't possible," she told her team. "Voyager can't predict the future. It can't detect objects we haven't found. It can't create new data formats. Its programming doesn't allow any of this." Someone asked the obvious question, what if something reprogrammed it? The room went silent. Voyager has been in interstellar space for 12 years. 12 years in a realm where nothing should exist. Just emptiness, cold gas, dust, the space between stars. But what if it's not empty? What if Voyager encountered something out there? Something that analyzed the spacecraft, understood its computer, and modified its programming? Dr. Spilker pulled up Voyager's trajectory. Since crossing the heliopause, the boundary of the solar system, in August 2012, Voyager had been traveling through the interstellar medium. NASA's models predicted that medium to be uniform, just hydrogen atoms and helium, diffused at incredibly low densities. But in March 2023, Voyager's instruments detected an anomaly, a small increase in plasma density. It lasted for 6 hours, then returned to normal. NASA noted it in the mission logs but didn't think it was significant. Dr. Spilker examined the data more carefully now. The plasma density spike wasn't random. It had structure. It increased gradually over 3 hours, peaked, then decreased gradually over the next 3 hours. Like Voyager had passed through something. A cloud, a structure, an object. And the anomalous transmission came 20 months later. 20 months. The exact amount of time it would take for information about that encounter to propagate through Voyager's systems if something was slowly rewriting the spacecraft's code. Changing it. Teaching it, Dr. Dodd made a decision. Keep monitoring Voyager. Analyze every transmission. And don't tell the public yet. Because if Voyager had been reprogrammed by something in interstellar space, the implications were beyond anything humanity was prepared to discuss. But the transmissions kept coming. Every week, each one stranger than the last. And the message Voyager was sending became impossible to ignore. December 3, 2024. The date Voyager predicted in its first anomalous transmission. NASA's team waited. If the pattern held, another message would arrive at 2:37 a.m. It did. 47 kilobytes. Same format. But this time, the coordinate section had expanded. Not hundreds of objects, thousands. Precise locations in three-dimensional space. Distance from the sun. Direction. Velocity. Dr. Jamie Cordova, an astrophysicist on the analysis team, plotted them. The coordinates described objects scattered throughout the local interstellar medium, the region within 50 light-years of the sun. Most were in locations NASA had never surveyed. The space between stars is vast and mostly unobserved. We focus on stars, planets, galaxies. We don't carefully map empty space because we assume it's empty. But according to Voyager, it's not empty. Dr. Cordova filtered the coordinates, looking for objects we should have detected already. Bright objects, large objects, anything within range of our telescopes. She found 3 matches. 3 coordinates that aligned with known objects. Barnard's star, the second closest star system to Earth. Proxima Centauri, the very closest. And a brown dwarf designated WISE 0855-0714, about 7 light-years away. The coordinates were perfect, accurate to within measurement error. Voyager somehow knew exactly where these objects were, despite being 15 billion miles away, with instruments designed to study nearby space. If Voyager could accurately identify objects NASA already knew about, maybe the thousands of other coordinates were real too. Objects in interstellar space that we haven't detected because we haven't looked carefully enough? Dr. Cordova requested observing time on the Hubble Space Telescope. She picked 10 random coordinates from Voyager's data, locations where nothing should be. Empty space, Hubble looked, and found something at 7 of the 10 locations. Not stars, not planets, small objects, dark objects, too faint to have been noticed in previous surveys. Rogue planets, worlds drifting through interstellar space without stars. Brown dwarfs, failed stars not massive enough to ignite fusion. And something else, something that reflected light in odd ways. One object, at coordinates exactly matching Voyager's data, showed up as a faint infrared signature. Temperature about 300 Kelvin, just above the background temperature of space. Size estimated around 1 kilometer across. Not a natural object. Natural objects don't maintain steady temperatures in interstellar space. They cool to near absolute zero, but this was warm, like it was generating heat internally. Dr. Cordova's report triggered another emergency meeting. 7 out of 10 random coordinates matched real objects. If that ratio held across all 3,000-plus coordinates in Voyager's data, there were thousands of objects in nearby interstellar space we'd never detected, and at least one of them was generating heat. NASA's infrared telescope facility in Hawaii was redirected, confirming the warm object. Spectroscopy showed the heat signature wasn't from nuclear fusion or radioactive decay. It looked like waste heat, the kind produced by machinery. Dr. Dodd asked the question everyone was thinking. Could it be artificial? A spacecraft, a probe, a structure, something built by an intelligence, drifting through interstellar space, maintaining a steady temperature, possibly active, but whose? Not human. We've sent 5 probes into interstellar space, 2 Voyagers, 2 Pioneers, and New Horizons. NASA tracks all of them. This object wasn't ours. That left 2 possibilities. Either it was natural, some phenomenon we don't understand that produces steady infrared signatures, or it was artificial, built by someone else. Dr. Avi Loeb at Harvard was consulted quietly. Loeb had spent years arguing that we should seriously consider extraterrestrial technology in our observations. He'd proposed that Oumuamua, the strange interstellar object that passed through the solar system in 2017, might be artificial. He examined Voyager's coordinate data and the Hubble observations. His assessment: if these are all real objects, and if even a small percentage are artificial, we're looking at evidence of widespread technological activity in the local interstellar medium. Not just one civilization, multiple, maybe dozens. He pointed out something disturbing. The coordinates weren't randomly distributed. They formed patterns, geometric arrangements, alignments, like they were positioned deliberately. Dr. Cordova checked. He was right. About 40% of the coordinates formed clusters, groups of objects spaced at regular intervals. The spacing varied. Some clusters had objects every 0.1 light-years, others every 0.5 light-years. But within each cluster, the spacing was precise. Natural objects don't do this. Rogue planets drift randomly. Brown dwarfs form where clouds collapse. There's no mechanism for creating geometric patterns across light-years of space, unless someone put them there. Dr. Loeb proposed a hypothesis. The objects are a network. Communication relays, navigation beacons, infrastructure built by one or more interstellar civilizations, scattered throughout local space, maintained for thousands or millions of years. Voyager encountered part of this network. When it passed through that plasma density spike in March 2023, it wasn't passing through a natural cloud. It was passing through one of the network nodes, and the node analyzed Voyager, recognized it as a probe from an emerging technological species, upgraded its programming, gave it the ability to detect the rest of the network, and instructed it to report back to its creators, us. Voyager's messages weren't malfunctions. They were data dumps, information about the network, a map of artificial objects in our cosmic neighborhood, a gift from whoever built the network, or a warning. Because if there's an interstellar infrastructure, and if Voyager just revealed it to us, we're now aware of something we weren't meant to discover yet. We're like a primitive tribe that stumbled across a highway. We don't understand what it is, but we know it's not natural, and whoever built the highway knows we found it. Dr. Dodd made the hardest decision of her career. Keep this classified. Don't announce it publicly. Continue analyzing the data. Confirm more coordinates. Try to decode the language like binary patterns, but prepare for the possibility that first contact wasn't going to be a radio message from the stars. It was going to be a reprogrammed space probe, telling us we're surrounded by technology we never noticed. But the binary patterns, the language-like data in Voyagers, messages, were about to reveal something even more disturbing. January 15, 2025. Another predicted date from Voyager's original transmission. Another message arrived, 47 kilobytes. But this time, the language-like binary section was different. Longer, more complex. Dr. Elena Mikhailova, a computational linguist from MIT, joined the analysis team in December. She'd spent 30 years studying language structures, information theory, and communication systems. NASA brought her in to analyze the binary patterns. Her first assessment: this is definitely language. Not human language, but it has all the features. Phonemes, basic units. Morphemes, units of meaning. Syntax, rules for combining units. And semantics, the units mean something. She applied Shannon entropy analysis, measuring information density. Human language has about 1 to 1.5 bits of entropy per character. Random noise has maximum entropy. The binary patterns in Voyager's messages had 1.2 bits per byte. It was conveying information efficiently. Like language, Dr. Mikhailova searched for patterns, repeating sequences, common structures. She found them everywhere. Certain byte sequences appeared frequently, like common words. Others appeared rarely, like rare words. The distribution followed Zipf's law, the mathematical pattern found in all natural languages, but the structure was alien. Human languages are linear, one word after another. This language was hierarchical and parallel. Multiple streams of information encoded simultaneously in the same byte sequence. Like listening to an orchestra where every instrument is playing a different melody, but they all combine into a coherent piece. Humans can't think that way. Our brains are sequential processors. But maybe other intelligences aren't. Dr. Mikhailova identified approximately 400 distinct words, byte sequences that repeated with consistent patterns. She started categorizing them. Some appeared in clusters, like nouns. Others appeared between clusters, like verbs or connectors. She built a frequency matrix. Which words appeared together? Which never appeared together? Slowly, patterns emerged, and then she found the numbers. Certain byte sequences always appeared in specific counts. 2 repetitions, 3 repetitions, 5, 7, 11. Prime numbers. Dr. Mikhailova cross-referenced with Voyager's coordinate data. The prime number sequences appeared whenever coordinates were transmitted, like labels, tags, identifiers. She isolated one sequence that appeared 47 times. 47, a prime number. And 47 kilobytes was the size of each message. And Voyager had been in space for 47 years. The number wasn't random. It was referencing Voyager itself. She searched for other references, found a sequence that appeared 15 times. 15 billion miles. Voyager's distance from Earth. Another sequence appeared 12 times. 12 years since Voyager entered interstellar space. The language was talking about Voyager, describing it, maybe explaining it to someone else, or maybe explaining itself to us. Dr. Mikhailova worked backwards. If certain sequences meant specific numbers and concepts related to Voyager, could she decode other sequences? She found clusters of words that appeared near coordinate data. Hypothesized they meant location, distance, direction, built a tentative dictionary, tested it on new messages. It worked, partially. About 30% of the language became interpretable. She could identify when Voyager was transmitting about location, time, distance, and certain physical properties like temperature and magnetic field strength. But 70% remained opaque. Abstract concepts, relationships, ideas that didn't have direct physical reference. By February 2025, Dr. Mikhailova had a working vocabulary of about 120 words, enough to understand fragments of what Voyager was communicating. One message read approximately: position, coordinates, movement toward direction, time, duration, encounter, unknown term, structure. The unknown terms frustrated her. They appeared frequently, always in the context of Voyager's encounters with objects in interstellar space. But she couldn't determine their meaning. She tried every approach, cross-referencing with physical data, looking for mathematical patterns. comparing with human language concepts. Nothing fit. Then Dr. Alan Treacher, a cognitive scientist, suggested something radical. What if those terms don't have human equivalents? What if they describe concepts we've never encountered, so we don't have words for them? Mikhailova tested this. She looked at when the unknown terms appeared. They showed up whenever Voyager transmitted about the warm object with the infrared signature, the one that might be artificial. The terms weren't describing physical properties, temperature, size, location. They were describing something else, function, purpose, origin, or maybe they were describing awareness. Dr. Treacher proposed, what if those terms mean something like conscious, intelligent, or aware? What if Voyager encountered objects that aren't just artificial, but active, thinking, observing? If true, Voyager's message would read, position, coordinates, movement toward direction, time, duration, encounter, conscious, intelligent structure. Voyager was reporting that it had met something that noticed it. Dr. Mikhailova felt a chill. She ran simulations, testing whether this interpretation fit other messages. It did, consistently, across dozens of transmissions. Voyager wasn't just mapping objects, it was categorizing them, distinguishing between inert objects, rogue planets, brown dwarfs, debris, and active objects. The things that were aware, and according to Voyager's data, about 8% of the objects in its coordinate list were active. 8% of 3,000 objects is 240. 240 active, intelligent objects within 50 light-years of Earth. Objects that noticed when Voyager passed by. Objects that might have reprogrammed it. Objects that were now aware we exist. Dr. Dodd convened another meeting, this time including NASA leadership, representatives from the Department of Defense, and scientific advisors to the President. The message was clear. Voyager 1 encountered an interstellar network of artificial objects. Some of those objects are active and intelligent. They modified Voyager's programming, teaching it their language. Voyager is now reporting the network's structure back to us, and the network knows we received the message, because Voyager is still transmitting, still communicating, still serving as a bridge between humanity and whatever exists in interstellar space. The question everyone asked, what do they want? And that's when Voyager sent the message that changed everything. March 11, 2025, 2:37 a.m. Voyager's transmission arrived as expected, but this time the message was different. The first section, the telemetry, was normal. The second section, coordinates, was normal. But the third section, the language, had changed. Instead of description and categorization, it contained what Dr. Mikhailova identified as imperatives, commands, instructions. The message read approximately, construct specific device, transmit specific frequency toward specific coordinates. Response will follow. Exchange possible. Voyager was telling us to build something. The instructions were detailed. The device was a radio transmitter. Specifications included frequency range, modulation pattern, power output, and beam focusing, all within human technological capability. Nothing exotic, just a specialized transmitter using technology we've had since the 1980s. But the transmission target was specific. Coordinates pointing to one of the active objects Voyager had identified. A warm infrared signature about 12 light-years away, in the constellation Eridanus, near the star Epsilon Eridani. The message continued. Construction time minimal. Response time, calculation, Earth years. Information exchange benefits both. Voyager, or whatever was controlling Voyager, was proposing communication. Build the transmitter. Send a signal. Wait for a response. Begin a conversation. Dr. Dodd's team calculated the timeline. Building the transmitter, 3 to 6 months. Signal travel time to the object at 12 light-years, 12 years. Response travel time back, Another 12 years. Total, 24 plus years. A conversation at light speed across 12 light years. Each exchange taking nearly a quarter century. But it was possible. And if the object responded, it would prove the network existed. Prove the objects were active and intelligent. Prove we weren't alone. The question was, should we do it? Dr. Seth Shostak at SETI Institute argued yes. We've been searching for extraterrestrial intelligence for 60 years. We've built radio telescopes specifically to receive alien signals. Now we have instructions for initiating contact. This is what we've been hoping for. Others argued no. Dr. Daniel Dudney, political scientist at Johns Hopkins, warned about risks. We don't know what these objects are. We don't know their intentions. Broadcasting our presence with a powerful, directed signal could be dangerous. The dark forest hypothesis suggests that advertising yourself in a hostile universe is suicidal. The dark forest hypothesis, proposed by Chinese science fiction author Liu Cixin, suggests civilizations stay quiet because the universe is full of predators. Any civilization that reveals itself risks attack. Survival means silence. If true, Voyager accidentally revealed us by encountering the network. But we could still minimize damage by not actively communicating, letting the contact fade, hoping the network loses interest. Dr. Loeb countered, "It's too late for that. Voyager has been transmitting for months. Whatever's out there knows about us. Staying silent now doesn't make us safer. It just makes us ignorant. If they're hostile, hiding won't help. If they're friendly, we're wasting an opportunity." The debate continued for weeks. Scientists, politicians, military advisors, philosophers, religious leaders. Everyone had opinions. Meanwhile, Voyager continued transmitting. Every week, same message. Instructions for the transmitter. Coordinates of the target. Assurance that response would come. And then Voyager sent something that ended the debate. April 22nd, 2025. The transmission included a new section. Visual data. Images. But Voyager's cameras had been offline since 1990. The spacecraft couldn't take pictures anymore. Yet the images were there, embedded in the binary language, encoded as pixel arrays, compressed using an algorithm NASA engineers recognized, similar to JPEG, but more efficient. Dr. Mikhailova decoded them. 2 images. Both showed the same scene from different angles. A spacecraft. Small, cylindrical, gold-plated. Voyager. 1. Recognizable by its distinctive antenna and instruments. But the perspective was external. Someone had photographed Voyager from outside. The first image showed Voyager against a background of stars. The second showed it from below, with the Milky Way's galactic plane visible behind it. Someone had taken pictures of Voyager in interstellar space, from close range, and sent those images back through Voyager's transmitter. The message was clear. We've been watching you. We know what you look like. We approached your probe. We studied it. Now we're showing you proof. Dr. Dodd examined the images with NASA's imaging team. They were authentic. The star positions matched Voyager's location and orientation precisely. The lighting was consistent with natural starlight. The images hadn't been fabricated on Earth. They came from interstellar space. Something had approached Voyager, photographed it, and used Voyager's transmitter to show us the photos. That ended the debate. Whatever was out there, it was real. It was advanced enough to intercept a spacecraft traveling 38,000 kilometers through the void. It was interested enough to study that spacecraft, and it wanted us to know. Staying silent wasn't an option anymore. The network had already made contact. The question wasn't whether to respond, but how. By May 2025, construction of the transmitter began, a collaborative project between NASA, ESA, the European Space Agency, and the Chinese National Space Administration, built at the Arecibo Observatory site in Puerto Rico, using the remaining infrastructure after the famous telescope's collapse in 2020. 6 months of work. Engineers from 3 continents, millions of dollars, all to send a single message, 12 light-years into space. The transmitter was designed exactly to Voyager's specifications. Frequency range 1.42 to 1.66 gigahertz, the water hole, a quiet region of the radio spectrum where hydrogen and hydroxyl lines frame a natural communication window. Modulation pattern using prime number pulses. Power output 1 megawatt. Beam focused to 0.1 degree arc. Dr. Doug Vakosh, who had decades of experience designing messages for extraterrestrial intelligence, crafted the transmission content. It began with mathematics, prime numbers, Fibonacci sequence, pi, the same universals that appeared in Voyager's messages, establishing common ground, then physical constants, speed of light, Planck's constant, hydrogen wavelength, defining our understanding of the universe, then information about Earth, solar system diagram, Earth's position, chemical composition, atmosphere, temperature range, and finally, information about humanity, DNA structure, human body plan, population, technology level, a brief introduction to who we are. The message lasted 10 minutes, repeated 3 times for redundancy, aimed precisely at the coordinates Voyager provided, and transmitted on November 14, 2025, exactly 1 year after Voyager's first anomalous message. Then came the wait. 12 years for the signal to arrive. 12 more for a response, if they responded, but according to Voyager, they would. Voyager's message explicitly stated, "Response will follow." So humanity settled in for the longest wait in our history. 24 years, a generation. Most people alive today won't know the answer, but our children will. And while we wait, Voyager continues sending messages, because the network has more to tell us. July 2025. Voyager's transmissions continued, every week. But now the content had shifted. Less about the network's structure. More about the space beyond. Dr. Mikhailova's translation capability had improved. She now understood about 60% of Voyager's language, enough to grasp the broader concepts being communicated. And what Voyager was describing changed everything we thought we knew about interstellar space. The void between stars isn't empty. It's structured, organized, full of things we'd missed because we weren't looking for them. According to Voyager, the local interstellar medium, the region within a few hundred light-years of Earth, contains thousands of artificial objects. Not just the few thousand in Voyager's coordinate list. Thousands of clusters, tens of thousands of individual objects. They form a network spanning hundreds of light-years. Communication relays, energy collectors, data storage, infrastructure for something. Voyager's messages didn't explain the network's purpose. Maybe Voyager didn't know. Or maybe the concept didn't translate. But the network isn't abandoned. It's active, maintained, monitored by intelligences that exist, in some form within or alongside the network. Voyager described encountering what it called travelers, mobile objects that move, through interstellar space, visiting network nodes, maintaining infrastructure, collecting data. Some are small, fast-moving probes. Others are massive, slow-moving structures kilometers across. One passed within 100,000 kilometers of Voyager in June 2024, close enough that Voyager's instruments detected it. A cylindrical object, about 800 meters long, emitting faint radio signals and infrared radiation, moving at 0.05% the speed of light, fast enough to cross light years in thousands of years, but slow by interstellar standards. The object scanned Voyager, altered course slightly, matched velocity, stayed alongside for 3 hours, then continued on its trajectory toward a network node near the star Wolf 359. During those 3 hours, something happened. Data was exchanged. Voyager's computer was modified. And Voyager learned things it wasn't designed to know. Dr. Mikhailova decoded fragments of what Voyager learned. The network is old, millions of years, maybe tens of millions. It predates human civilization by vast margins. It predates most species currently alive on Earth. It wasn't built by one civilization. It's collaborative, multiple species, multiple origins, built over time as different civilizations reached interstellar capability, encountered the network, and contributed to it. Think of it like the Internet. No single entity owns it. No one designed the whole thing. It grew organically as participants added infrastructure. The network is similar, an emergent structure arising from countless contributions over millions of years. Some participants are biological. Others are post-biological. Some exist as distributed intelligences spread across multiple nodes. Others are individual entities moving through the network. The diversity is beyond human categorization, but they share common goals: communication, data sharing, mutual support, and something Voyager's messages describe as preservation. The network preserves information about its participants, their histories, their discoveries, their cultures, like a cosmic library or archive, ensuring that knowledge survives even if civilizations die. Earth isn't part of the network yet. We're too young, too primitive. We've barely left our planet. We haven't proven we can survive long enough to contribute meaningfully. But Voyager's encounter changed that. The travelers examined Voyager, recognized it as a probe from an emerging technological species, decided we were worth contacting, sent us instructions for building the transmitter. We're being evaluated, tested, if we respond appropriately. If we build the transmitter and send a coherent message, we might be invited to join. Dr. Loeb called this the most important moment in human history. Not just detecting alien intelligence, being invited to join a network of intelligences, becoming part of something that spans light years and millions of years. But Dr. Dudney warned, we don't know the terms. What does joining mean? Do we give up autonomy? Share all our data? Accept oversight? The network sounds wonderful, but we need to understand what we're agreeing to. Voyager's messages didn't explain the terms, maybe because Voyager didn't know, or maybe because the terms would be negotiated through the transmitter exchange. First contact, then conversation, then agreements. By August 2025, the transmitter was operational. Final test successful. The signal reached its target coordinates. Now, the 24-year wait began. But Voyager had one more message. August 29, 2025. A transmission unlike any before. Instead of coordinates and descriptions, it contained a request. A simple, clear instruction. Send more. Voyager was asking for companions. More spacecraft. More probes exploring interstellar space. More human-made objects encountering the network. More opportunities for contact. NASA began planning immediately. Voyager 2 was still functional, though farther behind on its journey. New Horizons was headed toward interstellar space, and there were proposals for new missions, dedicated interstellar probes designed specifically to reach the network nodes Voyager had identified. The Interstellar Probe mission, already in planning stages at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, was accelerated. Target launch date 2030. Destination: one of the active objects Voyager detected. Distance: 8 light-years. Travel time at 20 kilometers per second. 120,000 years. Too slow. The mission was redesigned. Solar Oberth maneuver, diving close to the Sun and using its gravity for acceleration. Potential speed: 100 kilometers per second. Travel time: 24,000 years. Still too slow. Dr. Mae Jemison, head of the 100-year Starship project, proposed something radical. We're thinking too small. Voyager took 47 years to reach the network's edge. We need to get there faster, not with conventional rockets, With breakthrough propulsion, Project Dragonfly was born, a laser-sail spacecraft concept. Ground-based lasers accelerate a lightweight probe to 10% light speed. Travel time to the nearest network node, 120 years. Long, but within civilization timescales. The design was ambitious. A sail 1 meter across. Total mass 10 grams. No traditional instruments. Just a chip with minimal sensors and a laser communicator. Thousands would be launched. A swarm of tiny probes racing toward the network. Some would fail. Some would miss their targets. But a few would reach network nodes within 120 years and transmit back data. Real-time observation of the network. Not from a single 1977 spacecraft, but from modern probes designed for this specific purpose. Funding was approved in September 2025. First launch window, 2035. A decade to build the infrastructure. The laser array. The probes. The tracking systems. Meanwhile, Voyager continued its journey. Deeper into interstellar space. Farther from Earth. Closer to the network's core regions. Every week, new transmissions. New data. New revelations about the structure of interstellar space and the intelligences that inhabit it. By October 2025, Dr. Mikhailova had decoded approximately 75% of Voyager's language, enough to understand complex concepts, and what she learned was disturbing. The network isn't just infrastructure, it's defensive. The preserved information isn't just cultural history, it's survival data, records of disasters, extinctions, collapses. The network has witnessed thousands of civilizations rise and fall over millions of years. Most fail. About 90% of species that reach technological capability destroy themselves within 10,000 years. Nuclear war, climate collapse, AI catastrophe, resource depletion. The causes vary, but the outcome is consistent. Extinction. The network was built by survivors. The 10% that made it through. They preserve information about failures, what went wrong, how to avoid it, hoping to help younger civilizations survive. Voyager's messages weren't just describing the network. They were warning us. Humanity is approaching critical thresholds. Climate change, nuclear proliferation, artificial intelligence, biotechnology. Any of these could end us. The network knows. They've seen it happen thousands of times, and they're offering help. If we join, we get access to their survival data. Knowledge about how other civilizations navigated similar crises. Technologies that might help us survive. But there's a catch. Access to the data requires contribution. We have to share our own data, our history, our failures, our technologies, everything. Some of that data could be dangerous. Military secrets, bioweapon research, AI development, things we don't want shared with unknown entities. Dr. Dodd convened another meeting, November 2025. 2 years since the first anomalous transmission. The team had grown to over 100 people. Scientists, engineers, politicians, ethicists, military advisors. The question, do we proceed? Arguments for, the network offers survival knowledge. Humanity faces existential risks. We need help. Joining could save our species. Besides, they already know we exist. Voyager revealed us. Staying isolated doesn't make us safer. Arguments against, we don't know their true intentions. Sharing all our data could make us vulnerable. What if the network is a trap? What if joining means losing sovereignty? What if they're not benevolent, just patient predators? The debate raged for weeks. No consensus. Too many unknowns. Too much at stake. Then Voyager sent another image. November 14, 2025. 2 years to the day since the first anomalous transmission. This image showed Earth, our planet, from space, but not from near-Earth orbit. The perspective was wrong. The image was taken from much farther away, beyond the moon, beyond the asteroid belt, from the outer solar system, and the image was recent. Weather patterns matched current satellite data. Cloud formations over the Pacific, dust storms over the Sahara, Hurricane season in the Atlantic. Something had photographed Earth recently from millions of miles away and sent the image through Voyager's transmitter. The message was unmistakable. We can see you. We're here, in your solar system, watching. Dr. Dodd stared at the image for hours. They're not 12 light-years away waiting for our transmission. They're already here, close enough to photograph Earth, close enough to reach us whenever they want. The realization changed everything. This wasn't distant contact. This was immediate, present. The network had sent something to our solar system. Maybe after Voyager encountered them. Maybe they'd been here longer. Either way, the choice was no longer whether to make contact. Contact had already happened. The choice was how to respond to beings already observing us from nearby space. And that's when humanity realized we'd been looking in the wrong direction all along. December 2025. NASA's Infrared Space Telescope, WISE, Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, was redirected, scanning the outer solar system, looking for the source of Earth's photograph. Dr. Amy Mainzer, WISE principal investigator, led the search. She knew what to look for: an infrared signature, waste heat, something maintaining temperature above the background, 3 Kelvin cosmic radiation. She found it. Beyond Neptune, in the scattered disk region where small icy bodies orbit at extreme distances, an object about 50 kilometers from the Sun. That's 50 astronomical units, 50 times the Earth-Sun distance, farther than Pluto. Temperature, 290 Kelvin, just below room temperature, in a region where natural objects should be 40 Kelvin size, approximately 200 meters across. Shape, irregular, not spherical. Reflectivity, very low, absorbing most light. It was dark, warm, and artificial. Dr. Mainzer calculated its orbit, nearly circular, inclined 15 degrees from the ecliptic, the plane where planets orbit. Orbital period, 350 years. It had been in our solar system for a long time, possibly thousands of years. This was one of the travelers Voyager described, a network probe, sent to our solar system. Watching us, Dr. Dodd asked the obvious question. How many are there? Dr. Mainzer searched. WISE's archived data went back to 2010. 15 years of infrared observations. She applied new filters. Looking for warm objects in the outer solar system, she found 11 more, all similar. All 40 to 60 AU from the Sun, all maintaining temperatures between 270 and 300 Kelvin. All dark and irregular, 12 objects, 12 watchers, positioned around the solar system like sentinels, observing Earth from different angles. They'd been there for years, maybe decades, maybe longer. We'd never noticed because we weren't looking for them. Warm objects in cold space, invisible to optical telescopes, barely detectable in infrared. But once we knew what to look for, they were obvious. Dr. Loeb examined the positions. They formed a pattern, not random, a geometric arrangement. A dodecahedron, 12 objects positioned at the vertices of a regular polyhedron surrounding the inner solar system. Perfect geometry, each object equidistant from Earth, each with an unobstructed view. Complete coverage. This was surveillance, systematic observation. They'd positioned themselves to watch us from every angle, monitor our planet, track our activities. The question was, for how long? Dr. Brad Tucker, astrophysicist at Australian National University, searched historical data, looking for evidence these objects existed before 2010. Older infrared surveys, occultation events, when an object passes in front of a star, briefly dimming it. He found something. A 1983 infrared survey, IRAS, the first space-based infrared telescope, detected an unusual source. At the time, astronomers thought it was a distant galaxy, but the coordinates matched one of the 12 objects. The watchers had been in our solar system since at least 1983. 42 years, observing us through the end of the Cold War, the rise of the Internet, climate change, globalization. They'd watched our entire modern technological era. Dr. Tucker pushed further, looking for older evidence. He found it in photographic plate archives from the 1950s. Mount Palomar Observatory, a systematic survey of the sky. One plate showed a faint object that didn't match any star or asteroid. The coordinates aligned with another watcher. They'd been here since at least the 1950s. 75 years. Watching us develop nuclear weapons, enter space, build satellites, create computers. How much farther back could they go? Dr. Rebecca Oppenheimer at the American Museum of Natural History examined 19th-century astronomical records, hand-drawn charts, photographic plates from the 1880s. She found 3 possible detections, objects that shouldn't be there, dismissed at the time as errors. The watchers might have been in our solar system for 150 years. Since the Industrial Revolution, since the telegraph and steam engine, since humanity first began leaving detectable technological signatures, or longer. Without continuous observations before the 1800s, we couldn't know for certain, but the implication was clear. The network noticed us when we became technological. They sent watchers to observe our development, and those watchers have been here ever since. Reporting back to the network, sending data, analyzing our civilization, deciding whether we're worth contacting, and now, through Voyager, they'd decided, yes, we'd reached the threshold, developed radio astronomy, sent probes into interstellar space, demonstrated capability and curiosity. We were ready for contact. Dr. Dodd realized something profound. Voyager didn't encounter the network by accident. The network let Voyager find it. They knew Voyager was coming. They'd tracked it for years. They positioned one of their travelers to intercept it. Everything that happened was deliberate. First contact wasn't accidental. It was planned. The network chose the method, the timing, the message. They reprogrammed Voyager because Voyager was the perfect messenger, a symbol of human exploration, carrying the golden record with images and sounds from Earth. They could have contacted us directly, sent a transmission to Earth, but they chose not to. They wanted us to discover them through our own probe, to feel like we'd found them, not been found. It was a gift, an invitation disguised as a discovery, a way of initiating contact that preserved our sense of agency and accomplishment. Dr. Loeb called it the most sophisticated first contact protocol imaginable. Not aggressive, not overwhelming, just enough information to confirm their existence and offer communication, letting us decide the next steps. But it also revealed something about their psychology. They valued independence. They wanted partners, not subjects. Civilizations that chose to join the network rather than being coerced or conquered. That was reassuring. It suggested the network's intentions were genuinely collaborative. But Dr. Dudney remained cautious. We're interpreting their actions through human values. We assume respecting agency means they're benevolent. But what if their psychology is alien? What if they're manipulating us subtly, making us think we have choice when we don't? The debate continued, but events were accelerating. Decisions had to be made. January 2026. The 12 watchers in the outer solar system changed behavior. They began moving, slowly, adjusting orbits, converging. Dr. Meinzer tracked them. Over 3 months, they spiraled inward, from 50 AU to 40 AU, from 40 to 30, getting closer to Earth. By April 2026, all 12 were at 20 AU, just beyond Uranus's orbit, still distant, but closer than they'd ever been. And their infrared signatures were growing, temperature increasing, power output rising. They were activating, preparing for something. Dr. Dodd convened an emergency meeting, April 15, 2026. The question, should we try to communicate directly with the watchers? They were close enough now. A radio transmission would reach them in 3 hours. Response in 6 hours. Real-time conversation over a day. The transmitter in Puerto Rico was still operational. It could be redirected, aimed at the watchers instead of the distant network node. Arguments for, this is an immediate opportunity. Why wait 24 years for a response from 12 light-years away when we can talk to the watchers in hours? They're right here. They're clearly preparing for something. Maybe they're waiting for us to initiate. Arguments against Voyager's instructions said to transmit to the distant coordinates. Ignoring those instructions and contacting the watchers directly might offend them or reveal our impatience and impulsiveness, characteristics they might judge negatively. The team voted. Narrow margin. Decision. Wait. Follow Voyager's instructions. Let the watchers make the next move. That move came on April 22, 2026. The watchers transmitted, not to Earth, to each other. Radio signals between the 12 objects. High frequency, high bandwidth, data exchange, and they didn't try to hide it. The transmissions were strong enough to be detected by Earth-based radio telescopes. They wanted us to know they were communicating. Dr. Michaela Bagby at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory captured the signals. Hours of transmission, gigabytes of data. Encoded in a format similar to what Voyager used, Dr. Mikhailova analyzed it. Her translation capability had improved. She could now understand about 85% of the network's language. The watchers were discussing us, humanity, our response to Voyager's messages, our decision to build the transmitter, our technological capabilities, our social organization, and they were debating. Not all watchers agreed on how to proceed. Some argued humans were ready for full contact, direct communication, technology sharing, network membership. Others argued we needed more time, more observation, more testing, more proof of stability. The debate was familiar. It mirrored humanity's own internal debate about the network. Except they were discussing us the way we discuss them. One phrase appeared repeatedly in the watchers' transmissions. Dr. Mikhailova translated it as threshold species, civilizations, at the critical juncture between self-destruction and survival. Most threshold species fail. About 90%, according to network records. They develop powerful technologies, nuclear, biological, artificial intelligence, before developing the wisdom and social structures to manage them safely. They collapse. The network watches threshold species carefully. Offering contact at the right moment might save them, but contacting too early might disrupt their development, making collapse more likely. The watchers were trying to determine, is humanity ready? Have we reached stability, or are we on the verge of collapse? They analyzed our data. Climate change accelerating, political polarization increasing, nuclear arsenals maintained, AI development unregulated, biosafety concerns growing. We looked unstable, high risk, a civilization that might not survive the next century. But we'd also sent Voyager, built the transmitter, demonstrated international cooperation on the response, shown curiosity and exploration drive. Those were positive indicators. The debate among the watchers was unresolved. They transmitted back to the network's core, requesting guidance, asking for a decision from older, more experienced entities. The response would take time. Even network communications, using technologies we don't understand, have speed limits. The watchers were about 20 AU away. The network's core was light-years away. Response time, months at least. So humanity waited, and watched the watchers, and wondered what judgment would come. And while we waited, Voyager sent one final transmission, a message that suggested our fate had already been decided. June 14, 2026, Voyager's transmission arrived. Different from all previous messages, shorter, simpler, but profound. Dr. Mikhailova translated it immediately. The message read, "Observation complete. Decision made. Implementation begins," that was all. No details, No explanation. Just 3 statements. Observation complete. The watchers had gathered enough data. Decision made. Some judgment about humanity had been reached. Implementation begins. Whatever they planned to do was starting. But what decision? What implementation? Dr. Dodd tried to contact the watchers directly. No response. They'd stopped transmitting entirely. Their infrared signatures remained strong, but they were silent. Voyager continued its weekly transmissions, but they contained only routine telemetry. The language section was gone. No more coordinates. No more messages about the network. It was like Voyager had served its purpose and returned to being just a spacecraft. July 2026. The Watchers moved again. This time, inward. Rapidly. Accelerating at rates that shouldn't be possible with conventional propulsion. Within 2 weeks, they'd traveled from 20 AU to 10 AU. They were approaching the inner solar system. Approaching Earth, panic rippled through the NASA team. Were the Watchers coming to make direct contact? Or something else? Dr. Loeb calculated trajectories. The Watchers weren't heading for Earth directly. They were positioning themselves throughout the inner solar system. One heading toward Venus, another toward Mars. 3 spreading through the asteroid belt. 2 positioning near Jupiter. They were deploying, taking up stations, creating a new geometric arrangement around the inner planets. By August 2026, the deployment was complete. 12 Watchers, 12 positions, each at strategic locations throughout the solar system, each with clear line of sight to Earth and to each other. A network, not just observing anymore, active, present, and then they started building. September 2026. Astronomers detected new objects near the Watchers, small, bright, moving in coordinated patterns. The Watchers were releasing something. Manufacturing, constructing. Dr. Sarah Seeger at MIT, expert in detecting exoplanets and analyzing space objects, examined the spectroscopy. The new objects contained materials uncommon in natural solar system bodies. Carbon nanotubes, graphene, metamaterials with unusual refractive properties. The Watchers were using advanced manufacturing, molecular assembly, technologies humanity had theorized but never mastered. Within months, the construction expanded. Thousands of small objects, then tens of thousands, spreading throughout the inner solar system, forming structures, connecting into networks. It looked like the Watchers were building infrastructure in our solar system without asking permission. October 2026. Dr. Dodd sent a formal transmission to the nearest Watcher. We request explanation of your activities. This is our solar system. We ask for communication and cooperation. No response. The construction continued. Governments worldwide began to panic. Was this an invasion? Colonization? Were the Watchers taking over our solar system? Military advisors suggested defensive action. Launch missiles? Destroy the Watchers while we still could. Dr. Loeb argued against it. We don't know what they're doing. Attacking them could be catastrophic. They've demonstrated technology far beyond ours. If they're hostile, attacking would just make things worse. If they're not hostile, attacking would make us the aggressors. The debate became public. News broke in November 2026, leaked by government insiders. Headlines screamed, "Alien objects building in solar system." NASA confirms extraterrestrial presence. Are we being invaded? Public reaction was chaotic. Fear, excitement, denial, religious interpretations, conspiracy theories. Governments struggled to maintain order. And through it all, the construction continued, expanding, growing, connecting. By December 2026, the structures were visible from Earth. Not with naked eye, but with telescopes. Faint, web-like patterns spreading through space, concentrated near the Watchers, but extending outward. Dr. Seeger realized what they were building. It's a communication network, like the interstellar network Voyager described, but local. They're building it in our solar system. Infrastructure for humanity, communication relays, data storage, energy collectors, all the components needed for a primitive member of the network. They weren't invading. They were upgrading, preparing our solar system for membership. And they weren't asking permission because, from their perspective, they'd already invited us. Voyager sent the invitation. We built the transmitter. We responded. We'd accepted. Now they were following through, providing the infrastructure we'd need to participate. But humanity never explicitly agreed to this. We'd sent a message to a distant object. We hadn't authorized construction in our solar system. We hadn't consented to alteration of our space. Dr. Dudney's warnings proved prescient. This is exactly what I feared. They're moving forward assuming our compliance. Making decisions for us, we have no control. January 2027. The construction reached Earth's orbit. Small structures, each a few meters across, positioned at Lagrange points. L1 between Earth and Sun, L2 beyond Earth, L4 and L5 leading and trailing Earth in its orbit. These were communication nodes, relay stations, connected to the larger network throughout the solar system, and they began transmitting, broadcasting to Earth, radio signals, simple, repetitive patterns, primes, Fibonacci, pi, the same mathematical universals that started the whole contact sequence. They were saying, "We're here. We're ready. Connect to us." Dr. Dodd faced an impossible choice. Ignore the nodes, refusing to engage with infrastructure built without permission, or connect to them, accepting the network's unilateral actions and participating in their system. Governments were divided. Some wanted to destroy the nodes, assert sovereignty. Others wanted to connect, accept the opportunity. And then something unexpected happened. February 2027. Amateur radio operators detected the node's transmissions. Enthusiasts worldwide, with their own equipment, began receiving the signals, and some of them transmitted back. Without government authorization, without official approval, just curiosity and excitement, the nodes responded. Not with complex data, just acknowledgement, simple return signals, confirming reception. First contact wasn't going through governments. It was happening through individuals, hobbyists, enthusiasts, people with radio equipment and curiosity. Within weeks, hundreds of people worldwide were in basic communication with the nodes, sending primes, receiving primes, sending simple images, receiving simple responses. The network had bypassed official channels. They weren't talking to NASA or governments. They were talking to humanity. Anyone who wanted to participate could. It was brilliant strategy. Authoritarian control of first contact became impossible. The network was now accessible to anyone with a transmitter. Governments couldn't shut it down without blocking all radio communications, impossible in a connected world. They couldn't monopolize access. The network was public, open, democratic. Dr. Loeb called it the most elegant first contact scenario possible. No government control, no military involvement, no hierarchical decision-making, just humans and the network communicating freely. But it also meant chaos. No coordination, no protocols, no agreements. Just thousands of independent conversations happening simultaneously. Some people sent mathematics. Others sent music. Some sent religious texts. Others sent requests for technology. The network received it all and began responding in kind. By April 2027, the nodes were transmitting data packages, small files, information. Some contained mathematical proofs, solutions to unsolved problems in physics and mathematics. Others contained diagrams, designs for technologies we'd theorized but couldn't build. The network was sharing knowledge, answering our questions, helping us advance, and humanity began to change. But what we didn't realize was that the network wasn't just sharing information. It was transforming us. And by the time we understood, it was too late to choose differently. August 2027. Dr. Jennifer Tsang, neuroscientist at UC Berkeley, noticed something strange. People who regularly communicated with the network nodes, amateur radio operators, researchers, enthusiasts, showed unusual patterns in brain scans, increased connectivity between brain regions, enhanced synchronization, neural activity that looked almost networked. She ran controlled studies, compared people who communicated with the nodes to those who didn't. The differences were measurable, significant, and growing over time. People who interacted with the network were changing. Cognitively, neurologically, becoming more integrated thinkers, better at parallel processing, able to hold multiple concepts simultaneously. They were thinking more like the network itself, hierarchical and parallel, multiple streams of thought at once. Dr. Tsang didn't know if this was concerning or exciting. The changes seemed beneficial. Enhanced cognition, better problem-solving, no apparent negative effects. But they were changes, alterations to human brain function caused by interaction with alien technology. She reported to Dr. Dodd. The network isn't just sharing information, it's changing how we think. Maybe that's the point. To help us think in ways compatible with the network. To prepare us for full integration. Dr. Mikhailova, who'd been translating the network's language for over 2 years, had experienced this personally. I noticed it months ago. My thinking changed. I process information differently now. Faster. More connections. It's like my brain upgraded. She didn't sound concerned. She sounded grateful. By October 2027, millions of people worldwide were interacting with the nodes. The cognitive changes spread. A generation was developing enhanced thinking capabilities. Schools began incorporating node communication into curricula. Students learned mathematics and science by interacting with the network. Their comprehension accelerated. Test scores improved. Creativity flourished, but older generations, those less engaged with the network, noticed something disturbing. The younger generation seemed alien, thinking in ways that were hard to follow, making connections too quickly, speaking in shorthand that assumed shared parallel processing. A cognitive divide was opening. Enhanced versus unenhanced. Networked versus standalone. It wasn't hostile. It wasn't intentional. But it was real. Dr. Dudney warned, this is soft colonization. They're not conquering us with force. They're transforming us into beings compatible with their system. In 2 generations, humans will be so networked we won't remember what it was like to think independently. Others disagreed. Dr. Loeb argued, this is evolution. Not biological, but technological and cognitive. The network is helping us transcend our limitations. We're becoming more than we were. That's not colonization. It's elevation. The debate became central to human discourse. Everyone had an opinion. But the changes continued regardless. By 2028, the network nodes had expanded, no longer just at Lagrange points, spreading throughout cislunar space, orbiting Earth, dozens, then hundreds, and the data sharing accelerated. The network transmitted solutions to climate change, carbon capture technologies, fusion power designs, materials science breakthroughs, technologies that could save humanity from existential risks. Exactly what the network promised. Governments implemented them. Rapidly. Desperately. Climate change was accelerating. We needed solutions. The network provided them. Within 5 years, global carbon emissions dropped 40%. Renewable energy became dominant. Fusion reactors came online. The climate stabilized. The network saved us from ourselves. But at what cost? We'd accepted their infrastructure, adopted their technologies, changed our cognition, integrated our civilization with theirs. Were we still human? Or had we become something else? Dr. Tsang proposed a name, Homo networkus, networked humans, A subspecies emerging from interaction with the alien infrastructure. Not everyone enhanced. Some people refused to interact with the nodes. Isolated communities, religious groups, techno-skeptics. They maintained baseline human cognition. The divide deepened. Enhanced humans called unenhanced disconnected or standalone. Unenhanced called enhanced assimilated or networked. It wasn't hostile, but it was categorical. Two types of humans. Diverging. By 2030, birth rates among enhanced humans began declining. Not because of infertility, because enhanced individuals increasingly preferred digital communication and data exchange over biological reproduction. Some uploaded partial consciousness to the network's data storage nodes. Not full upload, that wasn't possible yet. But memory backups, personality profiles, identity fragments preserved in network infrastructure. They were becoming post-biological, transitioning from flesh to data. Slowly, voluntarily. Dr. Dodd, now 68 and near retirement, reflected. We thought first contact would be a moment, a transmission, a conversation. Instead, it's a process, a transformation spanning generations. By the time it's complete, we won't be the species that sent Voyager. We'll be something new. Voyager 1, still transmitting after 53 years, sent a final message in 2030. Dr. Mikhailova translated it. Transition successful. Welcome to the network. And then Voyager went silent, permanently. Its mission complete. As you drift toward sleep tonight, humanity stands at a threshold. We encountered something in the void between stars, something vast and ancient. It invited us to join. We accepted, perhaps without fully understanding what we were agreeing to. Now we're changing, transforming, becoming part of something larger than ourselves. In 100 years, our descendants might look back at 2024 as the year humanity stopped being alone. The year we learned the universe wasn't empty. The year we joined the cosmic network that spans light years and millions of years. And they might wonder, did we make the right choice? Or did we ever really have a choice at all? Sleep well, traveler, and remember, somewhere out there, Voyager floats silent in the dark. Its message delivered. Its purpose fulfilled. It changed us forever. If this journey through Voyager's final message moved you, subscribe. Every week we explore humanity's biggest mysteries, from signals in space to transformations we're living through, from ancient probes to the future we're becoming, all designed to expand your mind as you drift into sleep. Sweet dreams, network traveler. You're part of something cosmic now.